Kreuzer and Amy Phan would like to publicly declare their everlasting love for one another. They have chosen to do so in the presence of the people who have mattered most to them throughout the various stages of their lives, with special recognition going out to those loved ones who are no longer with us, most notably the late father of the bride. From this day forward, Rob and Amy will no longer be looked upon as two unique individuals, but rather one extraordinary couple, ready to leave their unified footprint in the sand of the world that awaits them as they embark on this new chapter of their lives. Rob, Amy, it has been my pleasure to watch the two of you grow as a couple from the earliest days of your courtship. I've been able to witness firsthand the incredible influence you've had on one another's lives, such as the calming effect that Amy's had on Rob's ultra-competitive spirit, Rob's dedication to helping Amy achieve her fitness goals, even if it means sacrificing his bowels in order to adapt to a changing diet. That's true love, my friend. However, one of my fondest memories of the two of you dates back to a costume party hosted by Rob and his roommates at the time, Bill and Minnie. I believe the theme of the party was dead celebrities or celebrities that should be dead. I remember attending the party dressed as Keith Richards and later crossing paths with the likes of Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, Carrot Top, Octomom, Paris Hilton, and a rap artist formerly known as Cheesy E. But I was first welcomed at the entrance by Rob, his wavy blonde hairdo flowing gently in the drafty breeze of the doorway. His masculine, athletic body ready to burst through the seams of his button-up khaki shirt and form-fitting khaki shorts. Yes, my friends, he was a ruggedly handsome reincarnation of Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. And right there, standing by his side, was Amy. Dear, sweet, innocent Amy, decked from head to toe in a self-constructed, homemade costume. I'm sure you can all imagine how romantic it would have been to see her dressed as Terry Irwin, the widowed wife of the great outdoorsman. But I digress, for she was not dressed as Terry Irwin. She was dressed as a stingray, the tip of her barb firmly embedded in Robert's chest. Now, I suppose that some people could have found this gesture tasteless or even offensive, but it was Amy, in a stingray costume. It was the most adorable thing I'd ever seen, and the two of you were the most adorable couple I'd ever seen. I knew from that moment on, through your common passion for costuming, or perhaps it was your twisted sense of humor, that the two of you were destined for a lifelong partnership together. To think it only took 5 years of dating for you guys to figure that out. The two of you have shared numerous other triumphs during your time together, from your 10Ks and your half marathons, to your zipline excursions, to your recent purchase of a home here in Redondo Beach. Not to mention your world travels, including stops in Hawaii, Mexico, Canada, Japan, Paris, France, Brussels and Bruges, Belgium, and Amsterdam of the Netherlands. My mouth runs wild with envy just trying to regurgitate all the incredible places the two of you have been together. I truly admire both of you for your willingness to go out and explore the world and all that life has to offer. Bringing the focus a little bit closer to home, one topic we have yet to uncover is the wonderful world of volleyball. By now, most of the people have read through your website and understand the significance that the game of volleyball has played in your lives. How the two of you met through a social network of volleyball friends, two of the key instigators sharing center stage with you here today. Or the story of how Rob craftily proposed to Amy in the middle of a playoff game against Boyne and Jen Chow, and the ensuing drama that unfolded in the middle of the proposal, as Rob momentarily misplaced the ring, which had initially been stowed in the safety of his shorts pocket. The situation grew intense as he scurried and sifted through the sand trying to find it, only to realize, to his great relief, that all along it had remained tightly bound in the safety of an accidentally discarded piece of toilet paper. While we're on the subject of playoffs, let's not forget the championships the two of you won at doubles beach volleyball. Presumably one of the toughest sports for couples to compete in together. The motto on the beach is, those that can play together, stay together. As it doesn't happen all that often. This silly game has certainly been the cause of more arguments and breakups than marriages. But the two of you have persevered and continued to grow stronger and wiser with each passing season. All kidding and prodding aside, what you probably aren't aware of are the important lessons of marital responsibility that you can learn by carefully examining a volleyball. I'm going to grab a prop in a second. If you don't mind, I'm going to switch over to hands-free mode so I can talk and drive at the same time. Isn't modern technology wonderful? You both recognize this object. On the surface, this looks like a typical volleyball. Spherical in nature, with logos, labels, decorations, and even inflation instructions. But if you were to remove all the decorative, festive features that make up the outer cover, and take a deep look into the core, you will find a hidden message of stunning inner beauty that will expose the eyes, the heart, and the mind to the foundations of a rewarding relationship. Are the two of you prepared to see what that looks like?
Yes.
Don't worry, I'll have my minions stitch that up. It's a good thing I ate my Wheaties this morning, huh? Revealed are your names, Rob and Amy, along with the words respect, love, trust, and listen. If we begin with Rob's name and follow Cupid arrows that lead away, they pass through the words love and listen before connecting to Amy. The first word we'll touch briefly on is love. It's been well documented in a variety of publications that the most important aspect that a woman seeks from a relationship is to feel loved and needed at any given moment. Rob, it's up to you to make Amy feel secure and comforted in her moments of uncertainty. Find creative ways to express your love randomly and unconditionally without provocation. If she doesn't receive regular affirmation of this need, Amy's heart will begin to feel hurt and rejected. But in order to fulfill this need, you must first learn to interpret and speak her language of love. Those subtle little things that make her feel special, which will very likely be different from your own language of love, or the things that make you feel special. Whether it's words of affirmation, performing an act of kindness for her, providing her with a simple but thoughtful gift, spending quality time together, or simply holding her hand. Find out what it is that makes her heart flutter. Then set aside some time from your busy daily schedule to speak fluently to her in her native language of love. The next word we come to is listen, often associated with the words talk and communicate. Now Rob, as men, you and I could get by with very few words. We could stand up here and grunt and mumble at each other a couple of times and understand each other perfectly well. Oh yeah. But as a woman, Amy requires much more delicate attention to this matter. More than anything, she wants to be heard. She wants you to understand her, to know who she is, what she thinks, and how she feels at any given moment. This is her way of opening up to you, inviting you into her life to see things from her perspective. This doesn't mean that she expects you to fix or solve all of her problems with your worldly wisdom. Believe me, she already knows how smart you are, otherwise she wouldn't be standing here today. Instead, use those moments to understand why she feels and thinks the way she does. Listening to her and picking up on what she is saying will provide you with many great opportunities to reassure her and validate those feelings that are important to her. And just as fair warning, these conversations may run a little bit deeper than talking about sports, random trivia, or the latest YouTube videos. And that's perfectly normal. Amy, we could have just as easily started this conversation with you. Even though men and women are equal, we're not necessarily the same. Generally speaking, we tend to have different emotions, different needs. If we follow the arrows leading away from your name, they pass through the words respect and trust before connecting to Rob. Renowned relationship authors John Gray and Emerson Eggerichs agree that the one thing a man desires in a relationship, above all else, is to feel respect and admiration from his partner. They go on to state that this is often the most overlooked aspect of a relationship. Believe it or not, you hold the key to Rob's self-confidence, which can in turn sail your vessel of marriage into clear open waters or send it crashing onto a shoreline of craggy rocks. It is your duty to build your husband up and make him feel like a poised and confident leader. your knight in shining armor, if you will. Try to refrain from comments that criticize, condemn, or complain against him. This is a surefire way to knock him off his noble steed. Instead, look for creative ways to motivate and encourage him with kind, convincing words. Look up to him, support him, pick him up when he is down, and set him back on top of his white stallion so the two of you can ride off into the sunset at the end of each passing day. The last word we come to is trust. Trust, like all these words, is really a two-way street. But in the context of this message, trust and respect go hand in hand for a minute. Amy, you must trust that Rob will make good decisions that will lead to a prosperous life and a satisfying marriage together. If you are constantly questioning him, judging him, and looking over his shoulder, you can conjure up feelings of unwarranted shame and guilt, which can later lead to feelings of resentment and regret. You must trust that he will always be there for you, through the good and the bad. Do not test him or defy him. Instead, set the ball high and have faith that your partner will team up with you to leap high above the net and to deliver that momentum-changing, crowd-roaring spike straight down to the face of adversity when the game is on the line. Finally, suppose I were to ask the two of you where this ball starts and where this ball ends. Or furthermore, who is responsible for setting the ball in motion? You can spin it around, bounce it, and toss it back and forth for a while. But eventually you'd get back to me and say, Kreg, there is no start and there is no end to this ball. The same holds true for your responsibilities unto one another in marriage. There is no starting point and there is no end. Your responsibilities are of equal importance and must occur simultaneously and continuously throughout your marriage. What happens when you wait for the other person to make the first move? It is the equivalent of a volleyball sitting alone in the sand, waiting to be served. The game never begins. People lose interest, pack up their gear, and go their separate ways. In marriage terms, you fall into what is known as the crazy cycle. Without feeling loved, Amy withdraws and shows Rob less respect. Without feeling respect, Rob withdraws and shows Amy less love. When these two basic needs are not met, you begin to respond selfishly. The cycle then continues to spiral out of control until you become distant strangers living under the same roof. My challenge to each of you is to pick the ball up and serve one another as often as you can, without keeping score. And don't worry about working on serve or seize. If you both focus first on fulfilling your obligations unto one another by perfecting your serves, the other aspects of the game will fall into place naturally. You will find yourselves in the midst of a very happy and fulfilling relationship that will last an eternity. In conclusion, if you are able to follow these simple guidelines, the two of you will go on to win many championships in life, far more precious and meaningful than those achieved within the boundaries of a volleyball court. Thus concludes my message to the bride and groom. A special thank you to Marty for designing the artwork on the ball using the message. The bride and groom have prepared a special reading, which will now be presented by Nathan Pollocksack.